Now, how long have you been on YouTube? Shouldn't you be doing something else more productive today?
Yes, I'm being followed by a moon shadow, moon shadow, moon shadow, leaping and hopping.
So, welcome to my review of How I Live Now by Meg Rosoff. This book, I'm just going to do my quick page count, with 194 pages. So counting from my last page count, I am now at 19,010 words to go for the rest of the year. So just off the bat, to let you know, I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars, just because of how much I enjoyed it. I started this book January 15th and I finished it January 15th. A lot was going on that day, but every time I had a minute to sit down, I was reading this book because I was really so very excited to read it. I'll be honest and say I watched the movie first because I had no interest in reading the book, and I wasn't even really that interested in watching the movie, but I just decided to give it a go. And I was actually quite pleasantly surprised. I was very shook up by the movie, and the book did a wonderful job of that too. So the story begins like a fairy tale, where the daughter Daisy is sent off to live far away with some distant relatives that she's never met by her evil stepmother. Her cousins are magical and wild. There's animals coming in and out of the house. They're left to their own devices by their mother. They go fishing on a whim and swimming without, adult supervision. It's this kind of, she gets kind of swept up in this magic of her cousin's life. And then a bomb goes off in London and the war starts. And I find it really talks a lot about the effects of war, not just like the general kind of political kind of effects, but the effects on everyday people. Right down to the mundane. We learn about, there's no electricity, and what that means, how much we depend upon it, and it goes right down to animals dying of starvation, and then wild animals, eating human flesh, and kind of like, you really get to see a good picture of it. And I actually really like this because I found it was a real person in a real situation that's not happening in a foreign or faraway land. Like, we get those war stories from, say, Afghanistan or Africa or somewhere that, it's far away. It doesn't really affect us. But this actually takes place in England. We get mentions of bombs going off in the US, and it's like it's happening to us, and it's close to home, kind of thing. And I found for once with Daisy, we have a female protagonist who is not setting out to stop the war and save the world. She's just trying to get herself home and to survive. And I thought that was beautiful. She's not perfect. She's not unique. There's nothing special about Daisy. She's just one of many people trying to live. She has no special skill sets. Nothing. It's just, her and her little cousin trying to get back home. And it's beautiful. I love this story so much. It flowed so beautifully. It was almost like a stream of consciousness, in that we are constantly inside the main character Daisy's head. I'd recommend that if you are an extreme grammar Nazi, you don't read this book, precisely for this kind of like stream of consciousness way of telling the story because there's run-on sentences, there's no quotation marks, there's random capitalizations. So if you get disturbed by those sort of things, don't read the book. But if you can look past that and realize that it is beautifully written, then go for it. You know, grammar's not the be-all and end-all. And it was a very believable story, in that there's a touch of magical realism in that her cousin is telepathic, and it's stated as a fact. It's just kind of accepted. It's not really like, ooh, there's this magic to it. It's just like, no, he's telepathic and we communicate with our thoughts.